Hello and welcome to the animation class. My name is byDSchorr, and this is part 1 of a tutorial on how to set up your camera to shoot a pixelation exercise. So when you rent a camera, you're going to ask for a T3i Canon camera. When you get the bag, first thing you want to do is make sure that you got the camera, that you got charger for the battery, and that you got 2 batteries. Okay, first thing you want to do is in the back of the camera, open to insert the battery. Make sure that you pay attention on the position of the correct position of the connector. Press the battery until it clicks and close. Let's familiarize ourselves with the camera. So the camera now is closed. So to take the cap off, you just press on the sides, cap comes off. On top, you have the on button, on and off. You have a disk that you can set up different setups. And for animation, we are always going to prefer to set in M for manual. So there is a line here on the side, and you're going to set on M. Here is the shutter where you press to take a picture. On the back of the camera, you're going to have, let me see. Okay, so you have a menu for your choices for the setup, info for information. This is the viewfinder, which you can open and twist and close in this position, which for us is very practical to work. Now I can turn on the camera, and if the battery is loaded, I'm going to start being able to see what's going on. I want to check, make sure that the battery is fully charged. And I'm going to do the same with the second battery. Very important, especially if I'm going to start working. Maybe the technician is going to go away for his lunch. I want to make sure that I'm not going to run out of power in the middle of my work. Okay, so here on the side you have a little disk which you use to navigate up and down on the menu, to the right, to the left. In the middle, when you press, you set. Those are buttons for choices. And yeah, so you have one here, you have a close-up for the focus here. All this I'm going to cover as we move, okay? So when you get the camera, one concern that we have in animation is memory, because you're not just taking 24 or 36 images as you could possibly in an assignment for photography. You're going to maybe be taking hundreds of images. So the size of each image is a concern. And also the size, you want to make sure that the memory card that you got with your camera is empty. You don't want to be downloading, backing up work that some student left there before you, okay? So I'm going to turn off here the camera because I want to show you where you find the memory card, which is here on the side. You bring it, the gate down a little bit, you open, and then you just have to press and the memory card will jump. Remember, never to touch with your fingers the electrical terminals of the memory card. It's very fragile, and you risk destroying the memory card or even losing your data. To put it back, you just put it back, the memory card, press, click, close, ready to go, okay? Now, obviously, I should avoid opening this with the camera on. That's why I turned the camera off to do that. So now I'm going to turn it on. And I'm going to press here on the side menu. And I'm going to navigate, so I'm going to use my disk to navigate to the range, which is a symbol for where I can format my memory card, or I can simply go and erase all images. I have two options of doing this to start working. Okay, so let's say here, and I go to format, I press set for OK. It's going to ask me if I really want to format the card. I say yes, OK. Press set again. And now my memory card is completely empty. Another option to erase images is on this blue icon for play. You have the option erase images. So instead, I always find safe to format the card when I'm starting to work, but erase images, if there are certain images that I didn't like, that I don't want them to occupy space, I can just erase them before I make a backup to my computer. Okay, so memory card is empty. Now I'm going to start thinking about setting up the camera. It's very important in the disk that you set. Let me put some light here. And okay, so M for manual. Okay, now in manual settings, it means I'm going to set up the light manually. I'm going to set up the focus manually, the sensibility of the film, everything manually. Why do I need to do that when I shoot animation? Because I don't want the camera to be changing the exposure every single frame. I want to choose one single exposure and then have all the images exposed the same way. I don't want my video to be flickering when it plays. If you forget and you see your video flickering, you know why. It's because you were not using manual. If you leave the camera on the automatic, the camera will be adjusting for every image, and obviously each frame would be a little slightly different from the other one. Okay, so here in the front, I have two settings that I'm going to use. Okay, I want to set to manual focus, and I want to use the stabilizer. Okay, so MF for manual focus. So it's just this little button here. Make sure to set that. Now I'm going to start setting up. So I'm going to press on menu. Okay, I'm going to navigate all the way to the first one. And as you can see, the first option that you see is quality. Okay, so if I navigate to quality and I press set, I have several options. In this case, I want to use S2, which is 1920 by 1280. Obviously, if you took digital photography, you learn with the teacher to use RAW. But as you can see, in S2, each image is approximately 2.5 megabytes memory. If I would use a RAW, like for example, the teacher might have digital photography students will use, you will see that each image is 18 megabytes. So instead of 2.5, 18. Now, if we multiply this for hundreds of images in animation, you're overwhelming your computer, and everything is taking too long to do, and it's not necessary, or this quality. So S2 is more than enough, and the S2 is the HD quality, high definition, is the quality of our flat screen TVs that we have at home, which we are usually quite happy with this quality. Okay. Another thing that we want to do is navigate to the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth option, and I will have a setting for aspect ratio. So let me go down here so you can see. And aspect ratio, I want, I'm not sure if it's in focus. Yeah, I want it to be 16:9. So I want my image to be cut on the shape of my flat screen, the flat screen that I have on my computer, the flat screen of our TVs. The proportions for our flat screens that we have been using is 16:9. So if I select aspect ratio, the advantage, you see 16:9, the advantage of that is that my images, when I back them up to the computer, they will already be cut to the correct proportion, and they will be JPEG, which is a compression, is a formatting that Final Cut Pro recognizes, and I'm going to be using Final Cut Pro to put my images together in a video sequence. Okay, so let me see. So if I want to see what I'm doing, I press here. I have a little bit an image. I take a picture. The image is prompt for 4 seconds, and then it goes back to life. Okay, so this is part 1 of our tutorial. In this part, we learn to check the bag for the batteries, check if the batteries are charged, familiarize ourselves with certain controls in the camera using the Canon 3TI, how to load the battery, how to install the memory card, erase all the images in the memory card, and start our setting up by setting up to S2, which is 1280 by 1920 by 1280. 1280 is a little bit the high is a little bit over what we want for our videos. So I bother to also go and choose in my menu the aspect ratio 16:9. So when I take my pictures, the camera automatically is going to cut, and instead of 1280, it's going to be 1080, which is the resolution we want, 1920 by 1080. So that concludes our part 1, and I'm waiting for you for the part 2 of this tutorial on how to set up your camera for the pixelation exercise. I'm byDSchorr. Thanks for listening.